I am Heidi Benjaminson, your host of Confidence Coaching, a podcast for mothers of teenagers who want to inspire their teens to thrive. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello. Welcome to episode 132, Putting People on Pedestals. Thanks for being here with me another week. Did you know when people ask me about my business and I explain a few facets, I always say my podcast is one of my favorite parts. It's second only to my time with my clients. Now, be sure to check out the short YouTube videos that I publish to accompany these episodes for more examples and tips for each topic. Hit subscribe while you're there in YouTube, and also make sure that you get my emails. I send a link to both the podcast and the videos right in that. You know what? You can even watch right from the link in my Instagram profile. Okay, I hope you're enjoying spring as much as I am. More sunshine and longer days make my heart happy. Today, I want to talk about putting people on pedestals, why it is so incredibly dangerous, and it ends up doing the opposite of what we usually want. And I'm going to give you simple ways to stop doing it and see everyone as your equal. I promise this is going to be one of your favorite episodes to share with friends and then discuss where you are unintentionally putting people on pedestals. Today's cancel culture is an example of believing someone popular is somehow above making mistakes and being human. So on the surface, it seems flattering to tell someone that you put them on a pedestal or think they're perfect or never do anything wrong. There's a fakeness to this position that masquerades as saying, I value you, I love you, I admire you, I think you're amazing, I want to do anything for you or to be like you. Now, I've heard for decades in religious conferences and talks how some men or organizations put women on pedestals. I'll actually talk a bit about this in a few minutes and why this pedestal is usually also a cage. Putting someone on a mental pedestal means we think they're perfect, flawless, that they are smarter, more talented, more amazing in every way than we are. I heard it described in my college years as the halo effect. Someone is good at one thing, so you project the expectation that they wear a halo and are good at everything. We think this person can do no wrong. When we do this to people, two immediate things happen. It's suddenly an unequal relationship. It's now a relationship where we place ourselves as inferior to them and we elevate their everything, their skills, their personality, their success to be superior to us. This immediately creates disconnection between us and them, which is usually the opposite of what we desire between us and that person. Disconnect happens because, we've now put them in a place where they can only look down on us. Because guess what? People can totally 100% tell when we've put a halo over their head. Immediate disconnection happens because they realize, I can't share all of myself with this person. I'm a human with flaws, and this person isn't open to hearing that or seeing that. They want me to be perfect, so I'll have to hide the flawed parts of me from them. I walked into a friend's home one day prior to a gathering of women, and very frantically she said, "Oh, my house is such a mess. Oh, Heidi, you'd never know what this is like. Your house is always so immaculate. I've never seen it messy." Of course, this is her insecurity talking. And also, it feels super icky inside me. I could start listing all the places where I am a mess or validate her, both things that she needs and also which make me want to distance myself or disconnect from her. The second immediate result of putting people on pedestals is we set ourselves up for disappointment because we all are human and we all have strengths and weaknesses. We all make mistakes. We all shine in some areas and are pretty dull in others. We disappoint anyone who thinks we're perfect. Putting another person on some angelic higher plane is very unfair to them. They're now burdened with the perfect expectations you have, which they'll never meet since they don't know our expectations. And by projecting your insecurity to them, they could feel burdened to constantly validate and patch up your insecurities, which doesn't create a solid friendship base. It's tiring to be constantly needing to validate others. This creates more disconnect. And ironically, most people would say on the surface that they want to be around and connected to this person. But insecurity blocks or holds them up to doing the exact opposite. They create disconnection and distance. A while ago, a friend called and needed to commiserate. Her husband had been asked to be in a very senior position in our church, and my friend just felt this huge burden to be perfect, to be more of everything. She even had another wife in this senior group pull her aside and say, "People are going to be looking at you closer. We'll have higher expectations of you. You have to watch every single thing you say." My friend was paralyzed with this burden, and it's an unfair burden. This week, I got a phone call from an older woman in our church group who was just calling to say hi and to reminisce about some fun things that we did together. She asked about my kids, and then she said, "Oh, Heidi, your family's so perfect. Keep it up." I know she meant it as a compliment, but I said to her, "Oh, Jane, we are far from perfect, if you only knew." She meant well, and we aren't really peers per se. If we were, I wouldn't feel comfortable being around her or sharing my life. Guarantee in the first day or two with us, she'd be disappointed in so many ways. We all know the people who accept us for who we are and with whom we feel the most comfortable. I actively seek out these people to be in my close tribe. These are the people who I feel the most comfortable around. I know they won't judge me for my rough spots, and I don't worry about disappointing them. And this ends up being people who are very secure in their own shiny and dull parts. It's pretty exhausting to be around people who need nonstop validation, or they're fishing for you to share all the ways that you aren't perfect so they feel better. So we've established that putting halos around people or elevating them to some extremely high status creates disconnection and inevitable future disappointment. Before I share some ways to stop doing this, or even how to respond to people who maybe put a halo around you, here are a few more reasons or dangers of putting people on pedestals. When we do this, we engage in mental comparison and shrink our own selves. We devalue ourselves since we'll never measure up. The woman who thinks that she has a messy house and thinks mine is always clean doesn't focus on the incredible meals and the food she makes, on how kind and considerate she is. We disempower ourselves when we elevate others. We give them power that they don't even want over our lives. One way we do this is by giving them authority over decisions that we make for ourselves. Have you ever said, "Well, I asked Susan which doctor I should go to because she's amazing in all these other ways, so she'd know the best." I remember after I had my first son, I did every single thing that another friend did. I bought several items that she had told me about and swore were the best, and she had some reasons for wanting them. I had put her on a pedestal. I bought some random baby supplies which were totally useless to me and not at all what I needed or wanted, all because I didn't do the work to actually assess my own needs and do my own evaluations. Now, of course, we always ask people for suggestions. Y'all, we have to do that. That's totally different. Or we get great ideas. Which local gym is great? Which hair salon is great? But we don't have the only reason to go there because someone that we highly admire told us that. This is abdicating your responsibility and decision-making abilities. Only we know all the factors going into decisions that we're making. I can't tell you how many times I've regretted buying something or going somewhere all because someone I highly admire told me, and I didn't do my own research. We take our power back when we take in suggestions and ideas from others, then we do the calculus to decide if we would like the same thing. So, what can we do mentally to take people off pedestals and higher status stages, which will result in higher confidence levels and more connection with all these amazing people around us? First, I want you to think of someone that you might think is totally amazing in all ways. Who do you think is flawless and super amazing? Do you feel insecure in their presence? Think about someone who maybe you even feel has disappointed you in the last few years, like you expected them to make better choices or be someone they aren't. Now, remember, this is a sign that you aren't seeing them as human. Now, tell yourself, I really admire this person and they are human just like me. I really admire Reese Witherspoon and Brene Brown, and I know they aren't perfect. They're human just like me. Side note, remember how a while ago Reese Witherspoon was arrested for being drunk somewhere in the South? I recently heard her talk about this and how the incident awakened all the people who put her on a pedestal to seeing her just as human. Keep on thinking of this person that you highly admire. Now tell yourself, I admire these many parts of their life, and I don't know about many other parts of their life. Remind yourself we only see a slice of someone else. And not that we want to look for their flaws per se, but we want to take the halo off their head, which would have us expecting them to be perfect in all areas, which no one is. Now, think of the things you admire about this person. And if it's an area you feel is lacking in your life, reflect on how you can improve this about yourself if you want to focus on that. Now, more often than that, though, I find I just really want to admire that person, and I'm okay that I'm just average in that area. I'm an average cook. I admire people who can cook well, and I recognize that this isn't where I want to spend a lot of my time. The next time you hear yourself saying, well, I'm buying a Toyota because my super smart brother always buys Toyotas, stop and ask, do I really want this car? Does it meet my needs? Have I done the research I need to do? I can't tell you guys how many times I've been so disappointed by buying or doing what others who I admire tell me, and I'm mad again that I don't trust my own intuition. So again, keep on continuing to think of that same person that you admire. Do you want them looking down on you? By elevating them, you only give them the option to look down. Do you want this? I'm guessing no, none of us do. This becomes easier to do when we get used to giving ourselves compliments and loving our shiny moments. Listen for the next compliment someone gives you and let that compliment soak into every piece of your body. Admit where you're strong and special. Recently, I was at a large life coach school mastermind with about 1,500 other coaches, and I met and spent time with many coaches that I haven't met in person. At lunch one day, another coach who I admire greatly said to me, I've actually listened to several of your podcast episodes and I love it. About an hour later, I told my friend, I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to let that wash all over me. I'm going to soak it up. Someone I admire also admires me. That's pretty cool. I wanted to accept and not just deflect or minimize what she said. This will help me be okay being a human with flaws and also strengths and gifts. This helps me see and accept others as humans. Here's the thing. Other people want to be treated as humans. Very few people want you to think that they're perfect. The only people who want to be on a pedestal are narcissists who are full of extreme insecurity and usually want to take advantage of you. Otherwise, people want you to accept them as equal to you. This allows them to be comfortable being their real, authentic, human self, which ultimately helps us feel connected to them. Remember, we feel connected to people who can be vulnerable with us. A month ago, our church had a women's night and we did speed friendshipping. It was a fun activity to get to know more people. We sat on two sides of long tables and for 2 minutes, we'd answer a question on a slip of paper with the person across from us. Then we'd move each 2 minutes. I sat across from a woman that I don't know well, and our question was, what is something many people don't know about you? I can't remember what she said. I said, well, People probably don't know I curse more than they probably think I do. And cursing, of course, is all relative. It was fun to be human and connect with someone sharing all the parts of who we are. In my YouTube video this week, I'm going to share a few responses that you can give to people who have put you on a pedestal or expect you to be perfect or tell you that you're disappointing them. It feels icky and disconnecting when people throw their insecurities at us. I have a few responses, which is all it takes, so people realize it's way more fun and connecting to be equals. I mentioned at the beginning, some organizations, usually religious or political, say they put women on pedestals. The pedestal becomes a cage, though, because if women don't do exactly what's expected in the small cage, they're threatened with not being accepted into that group and feeling like they belong. And worse, they can feel shame if they don't have the qualities of the women on the pedestal or the cage. Dr. Julie Hanks has done some amazing work and has a great TED Talk about feeling aspirational shame because she wanted a career, which was outside of the cage or the pedestal that she was raised with women being in. I've had clients share with me how shameful they feel not wanting more children or wanting to explore their own interests and grow themselves, independent of their family. It's just food for thought. Is the pedestal others put you on, is it limiting your life experiences, your education, your financial opportunities? It can be subtle and seem shiny and pretty at first glance. Then we realize the shine is coming from bars that, usually with no bad intention, they're keeping us small. I have friends who feel less than for not having children because they don't fit on the fake pedestal organizations taught them where they would be the most valued on. This is incredible work for us to do so our children see that we feel equal to all other humans. Our children are mapping how we respond to the world. Do we create imagined hierarchies and think others are perfect and better than us? Our kids absolutely pick up on these pedestals if we're always putting ourselves down, or if we have quiet and assured confidence dealing with people in a variety of situations. This helps our children feel safe and confident and okay with their humanness. They drop their expectations that they or others need to be perfect. Okay, that's it for this week. If you would like personalized weekly one-on-one coaching to learn how to build a solid relationship with your family, sign up for a consult call at HeidiBenjaminson.com. A confident mother is the greatest gift to her family, not a perfect mother. Our families want us to feel confident, anchored, and calm. I can help you uncover this version of yourself. Have a great week.